Hello and welcome to You Were There. I'm excited you showed up. We've got quite a lineup for you today, so sit back and enjoy the ride. Every day and in many ways, the Christian Broadcasting Network, through its partners, is making impact across the world. On today's episode, you get the chance to see how far they're willing to go to make a change. But first, here's a truth snippet to get us started.
Have you ever dared to do something unsure of what the outcome will be? Have you ever dared to go on a journey not knowing where the road will lead? I have. I became a partner of the 700 Club in July 2017. I committed to giving a certain amount, and I was faithful to it. However, in November 2018, I was in a meeting and we were discussing something that had absolutely nothing to do with giving when I felt a tug in my heart to double my giving with the 700 Club Nigeria. I was like, what? Double? I did not know where the thought was from, but I was like, I bind you. I tried to quench the voice. I tried to ignore it completely because in reality, my monthly income had not increased and my needs for the month had not reduced. So it seemed like a rather foolish thing to do. But for a month, I think, I kept on struggling with this thought. It wouldn't go away. I had other commitments, other financial commitments elsewhere. And by the time I was done with my calculation, I wouldn't have enough to cover for my needs for a month. It felt like I was agreeing to jump off a cliff with no promise of a safe landing. Anyways, after a few weeks of fighting with myself, I decided to do it in spite of my fears. And in January 2019, I doubled my giving with the 700 Club. How God has sustained me from then until now is one mystery that I will never unravel. I've received invitations for jobs that I never applied for. I've gotten favor from people and places that I never expected it to come from or asked for in the first place. And with every time that I see the money deducted from my account and I know that, okay, someone is going to be fed, someone's need is going to be met, the level of fulfillment I feel on the inside is indescribable. I cannot describe it. I'm just happy with this decision and I have never, ever regretted this decision. Sometimes you may be like me. You may feel like dared to do something that you're not sure how will turn out or to go on a journey that you're not sure where the road will lead. But would you dare to do it anyway? Would you dare to give in spite of the fears and the worries and the doubts? I dare you to do it anyway. I dare you to become a partner of the 700 Club Nigeria today. And if you're already a partner of the 700 Club, I dare you to increase your giving today.
Wow, I can't imagine how it felt to hear that demand. But we want to say a big thank you, Sarah, for taking the bold step to double your giving. God bless you. Have you ever heard this phrase, if you want to receive more, then you've got to give more? Now, that sounds harsh when you barely have enough, but we can all start from where we are. Take the little things like your affection, your skill, a prayer, a listening ear, and then watch it gradually spread to every part of your life until it becomes a lifestyle. Trust me, when you begin to live beyond yourself, you truly come alive, then you will dare to do the things that you never thought you could. Just like the man in our next story. He dared the odds because of a heart of love. You're going to want to see this.
I want to thank you so much for making our time to be here on You Were There Studios.
Thank you, love.
I know that you have seen a lot being on the field. You've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. You've had to deal with very difficult situations. So I'd like for you to share with me one of that trip that you have encountered that you consider the most daring of all your trips and it's unforgettable.
One of the trips that I can call very daring trip I've embarked upon during my 12 years in Christian Broadcasting Network is a trip that we made to Galdumaru in Gombe State about 8 years ago. The first part of the trip was to Kaltungo from Abuja, and we spent the night in Kaltungo with the hope that we will get to the community early enough the following day. The terrain itself to Galdumaru, it's something so challenging. You know, we had to travel all the way from Kaltungo to Adamawa, Lamurde in Adamawa, and then from Lamurde, we descended to Karim in Taraba State, meandering in between valleys and rocks and gullies. We had prayed all along that there should be no rain because of these rivers that we need to cross before we get to Galdemaru. But it wasn't so. It rained throughout the night while we were at Katungo, and we had to, we had to travel with the rain up to the bank of the first river.
So when you got to the bank of the river, I'm sure you saw that the river had overflowed. So I'd like to know, what choice did you make and how did you get across to the other side?
We had to make a choice of going ahead, crossing the stream against all odds.
Wait, let me get you right. You saw the river. You knew that this is life-threatening. Like, this could lead to loss of life, property, all the things you came with. What was this passion that made you overlook this fear and the threat ahead and the choice to go ahead in spite of what you were seeing and faced with?
It was a courage from the Lord that gave us that boldness to go ahead, because we know that we didn't send ourselves. He sent us, and we know He's able to see us through.
How easy or how successful was it for you making that cross?
It was quite successful, though we paid dearly also. All of these vehicles that we travel with got stuck inside the river. I had to go to the village and mobilize youths that came and joined hands with us. First and foremost, they lifted all our equipment and drugs and crossed to the other side of the river, and then they now came in and then they began to lift the vehicle and carry the vehicle along, and that was how we were able to cross the river with these equipments and vehicles.
I know some young ladies were with you on that trip. How were they able to get across? Because they were in the vehicle.
Yeah.
When that happened.
So Hefty Guy had to literally back them, put them on their back, and cross the river with them.
So when that happened, you successfully, go through all the challenges that you encountered, but you crossed eventually. How did that impact you? How did that impact your work in the community?
We got there and miraculously were able to do a lot. We did 13 surgeries in that community with the stress on our body, because we know we have to travel like all the night. Yeah. Yet we had that energy to set up in the morning and to be able to, we didn't have a place, we used a tent to carry out the surgeries, and they were all successful. It was so packed full, and everybody was happy. The community were happy. We were also happy to have achieved all of this.
I just want to say thank you for all that you do. May the good Lord continue to keep you, and may the Lord strengthen you to do even more and reach out to even more communities.
Well, we thank God. Love is God's love we're doing, and with all pleasure, we will continue to walk while it is day, because the night is coming when no man can walk. So that is our motivation.
And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you too. Bless you.
We will continue to work while it is day, because the night is coming when no man can work. That's truth with an exclamation mark. Thank you so much for the sacrifice you make to ensure these communities get the help they desperately need. To our partners, thank you for giving us the opportunity to go beyond limits. Coming up next is the full story of the Galdemaru trip. We pulled it out of the archives just for you. Want to see true daring? Then stay tuned.
When we set out to Galdimaru in northeastern Nigeria for a medical mission that morning, we didn't have the slightest idea of what lay ahead. But first we needed to change a tire and grabbed some breakfast while we waited. Full of expectation and zeal for a life-changing mission, we drove through very bad roads, mountains and terrain that looked like something out of National Geographic for hours on end. We had driven for almost the whole day and were shocked to realize that we still had many more kilometers to go. At this point, we began to wonder if we were making any headway at all. But just when we thought we had gotten close to the village, we were faced with a major obstacle, a mighty river which had overflowed because of a heavy downpour the previous night. Well, we've driven for like 5 hours through the mountains, and if Steve turns his camera, you'll see the really high mountains and valleys and rocks that we have had to drive through from Gombe. This is Gali village, and right behind me, the only thing standing in our way between us and Galdimaru is this great river. It rained cats and dogs last night into the morning, and we are practically stuck here at Gali. So the team is trying to find a way. The villagers say there's no way we're going to make it through this river, but well, we'll wait and see what happens, because we have to get to Galdimaru and get the medicine to them and the gospel to them. So let's pray hard that we get through this, okay? Now, did I mention that I didn't know the first thing about swimming? Someone suggested we call on the God of Moses, wave a rod and part the Red Sea. Now, when this didn't happen, we were faced with only two options: drive back 13 hours or cross the river to the promised land. Well, more like to the villagers waiting for hope on the other side. So we decided to take the plunge. In went the first car. Doesn't look too good. But thankfully, the villagers from around came to lend a helping hand. Then the second car followed, with not much luck either. Okay, here we were in the third truck. Can we hope for a miracle? Oh no, the truck was getting filled with water, and it was sinking deeper and deeper, and the currents getting stronger. Well, the rescue team didn't have much of a choice but to lift yours truly through the window on a piggyback ride across the river. We spent the next few hours airing and drying all our stuff which had gotten wet in the river, as volunteers carried more things across. As the sun set, we knew we had to get moving. So we continued through the dark and crossed a few more rivers, but this time there were no stunts or swimming lessons. Finally, we arrived Galdimaru at about 12 midnight. The journey, which should have lasted only a few hours, took all day and all night, but God brought us through. It's morning at Galdimaru. Despite a very short night, we had to be up again, and throngs of people were already at the village square waiting to be treated. So we swung to work immediately. Doctors, lab scientists, pharmacists, counselors, and volunteers all ensured that the people's medical and spiritual needs were attended to free of charge. The help rendered ranged from surgeries to eye tests, glasses prescribed, and treatment of general ailments. Musa and his son Adamu are Fulani herdsmen. They were going blind from eye infections and walked over 6 hours across the hills to be here. All they needed were a few eye drops.
My heart is filled with joy. I feel like crying. Thank you so much from my heart. Thank you.
Dinatu had a lump growing on her back. For many years, she cut it with a razor and applied herbs, but there was no improvement. Dinatu got surgery for free.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jerita's son Malachi had a chronic lung infection, and there was nothing the family could do about it until they heard about the medical mission. So Jerita carried her son for 3 hours to the venue to see a doctor. All he needed were anti-malaria and antibiotic syrups at no cost to the family.
Thank you, CBN, for the help you brought to us, for coming all the way to this village. We are very grateful.
Musa, Adamu, Dinatu, and Jerita are only few out of hundreds of people whose lives were changed because you gave and we made this trip. Despite the challenging journey, we all felt comforted by the lives that were touched. This is one among the many activities of CBN in Nigeria and in other parts of the world. You can sign up to be a partner to provide free cleft lip surgeries, clean drinking water for poor communities, and empower women all around the world.
Phew, how can you forget that demonstration of love? The people of Galdemaru will remember this for years to come. Thank you, dear partners, for daring to give in spite of prevailing demands. There are many more communities hoping and praying for a life-changing opportunity like Galdemaru's. Will you dare to be an answer to prayer? Will you leap into an adventure that changes lives in whole communities? If that's a yes, log on to our website, www.cbnafrica.org, and fill the partnership form. With your financial monthly contribution of 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira to as high as 84,000 naira, you can bring clean drinking water to communities, basic health care to rural settlements. You can sponsor an orphan's education, empower widows, carry out free cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries, and so much more. Give us the opportunity to serve you on your journey to serving the world. You can also call any of the numbers on your screen. We can't wait to hear from you.
You were there when the water flowed and the children danced for joy. You were there when the doctors came and saved their little boy. You were there to speak the truth, send the gospel near and far. You were there to change their lives right from where you are.
Thank you, CBN partners, for making a difference around the world. Your gift of love has changed life and eternity for millions.
When hurting hearts reach out and cry, does anybody care? You were the one who brought the gift. Thank God that you were there.
When you decide to partner with CBN, you're not only reaching hurting hearts here at home, but also around the world. Today, your gift of love takes us to Tanzania.
Elia is a happy little boy, but walking has always been a struggle.
When he was a baby, his legs were bowed out. We thought he would outgrow it, but as he got older, it became worse. With every step he takes, he is in pain.
He often watches hopelessly as other children play and run around.
He'd cry out, "Come back and play where I am." He knows he is not like them. He'd point to his legs and ask, "When will I be able to walk and run like they do?" The hospital told us he needed surgery, but there was no way we could afford it. There were days I went inside the house, locked myself in, and cried out to God to help my son.
When his mom learned about Plaster House, a ministry supported by Operation Blessing, she reached out to us. We visited their home and soon arranged for him to get the surgery he needed.
One of the many benefits of him getting this surgery now when he's so young, it'll heal really well, and pretty soon he's going to be able to go to school without anybody ever teasing him, nobody giving him a hard time, and he'll be able to run around and play with all the other kids.
I knew God would hear my prayers.
After a successful surgery, Elia and his mom went to Plaster House for his recovery. Now that the casts are removed, he's up and running.
The day his cast came off, he was very excited and wanted to walk immediately. All his pain is gone. Now every time he sees other kids playing, he runs to them to play. Surely it is God. He blessed you so you can bless us. Thank you. May God continue to bless you so more mothers and children may be helped.
Once again, you dared to restore hope when it seemed all hope was lost. Now Elias can live a normal life. For him and countless others, we say thank you, dear partners. Now, right after this, some FaceTime with one of the daring heroes. Stick with us.
One day in church, I happened to meet Brother David, who is also working in CBN, and he told me all about how to partner and be a part of 700 Club, and it was a joy for me because it was like a prayer come true for me. I chose to partner because Superbook had been a great blessing to me. I see people, smile when they have a borehole drilled, when there's a medical evangelism in a community, and people's lives are being touched, surgery, and so on and so forth. Just sending the money, I feel is not really enough. So I thought it wise also to be following the team on this medical evangelism. I was happy when I heard that CBN have an affiliation with an orphanage home. I felt so happy by the smiles on people's faces, especially the children. 700 Club, for me, it's God sent. You can't do this and go empty-handed. I urge everybody to come on board and join CBN and be a part of this great experience.
Life is a gift, and it offers us the privilege, opportunity, and responsibility to give something back as we become more. Many women, children, and families are suffering and in need, wondering where the next meal will come from. Lend a helping hand today. Be the strength when others are weak. Be the smile where others frown. Be the joy when there is so much pain. Be more. Join the 700 Club. Lend a helping hand to someone today.
We hope you had a great time watching the stories we brought to you. But time does fly and we have to say goodbye. Until the next episode, dare to do the impossible and keep fear out. God bless you.